Some time ago, there was a temporal disruption involving the USS Enterprise C. We thought the matter was fully resolved, but there was an oversight. We need to find one of the Enterprise C survivors, a temporal duplicate of Starfleet Admiral Tanay. Until we reconcile her displacement, the timeline is in jeopardy. There's one person in particular that can provide the location of the survivors, Sela of Romulus. We believe she's operating in the Cytor system. Meet me there to search for Sela and enlist her aid.
No, I'm kidding you. I actually thought about it. I would probably go ahead and actually stream if that happened. I wouldn't be recording at that point, so... The fact that you're watching this on the VOD means you know that I was joking. If you're paying any kind of attention, this is funny, because they caught this. Now, I don't know who exactly gets credit for this, but if you're paying attention during yesterday's Enterprise, which is Temporal Ambassador, when we got to the Ambassador class ship, we were like, alright, we need to pull you out of the ship as it goes back to the past. That way everything will be lined up and cool again. Except if you're paying attention, and someone even mentioned this in chat when we were doing that quest, Admiral Tanay was still on the ship. Now, I don't know if that was a plot hole or a bug or whatever, but I should probably mention once again the Temporal Ambassador came out forever ago. Whereas Survivor, the quest we're doing, came out a couple years ago. So they circled back around to this and were like, oh, right, let's go ahead and close that plot hole. And this is also... This is Sela's last mission for all intents and purposes. So we'll see what we think of this. But I wanted to mention that right up front because I already applaud the sense make going on here. Thank you, Roman Cure, for being a part of my show. I will jot that down if you give me a second. For Wander Song. And thank you very, very much, Candyman. Welcome to the 2-year club. I will jot down that anniversary sub for StarCraft. Much appreciate, much obliged. Thank you, as always. Yeah, I just started, Lunarith. I basically just got back from the dentist like 20 minutes ago. Words. Quick thoughts on the Citadel DLC. Haven't played it. All right, so. Well, thank you, Mikalol. I do appreciate it, really. Is my tooth fixed? No! As a fresh reminder, when I show up, I have an appointment on the 9th, which is when they will look at the tooth to see if they should pull it out, which they should, of course, but you know how dentists are. Now, there is about a 50% chance, this is actually quoting the nurse here, there's about a 50% chance that that tooth will actually be pulled out on the 9th, and about a 50% chance that they will decide that they need to schedule it for some time after the 9th. So, the actual core problem, the infected tooth, will not be dealt with at the absolute earliest until August 9th. I went in today for essentially unrelated stuff. Some other things that I do actually need to get taken care of, and it's probably a good thing to do, especially right now of all times. So, that was painful, but, you know, whatever. That's a couple filling replacements. I got fillings when I was 14. I'm 40. So, yeah, my fillings are old and terrible and falling apart. And that does need to be dealt with. It's why I had an infected tooth to begin with, right? So, that's what today and next Wednesday will be about. Speaking of which, I will not be streaming next Wednesday morning until I get back from the dentist for the reason I just mentioned.
If she's here, we'll need to draw her out. Sela's not easily found if she doesn't want to be. In the meantime, there's a structure on one of the larger asteroids. but the mineral content there is making long-range scanning difficult. I recommend we take a closer look.
What sort of structure?
Looks like a small base of some kind. Industrial, possibly military. Whatever it is, it's running at low power. We'll get a better idea at close range.
All right.
Our intel shows a lot of Romulan activity in this system, in Seela's name. Command believes she's planning an assault of some kind and gathering tactical resources. This looks like an abandoned Tal Shiar base, or what's left of one.
This is the Lexington-class Dreadnought. It is a mirror-universe version of the Odyssey. It's a death machine. I hate it, but it's a death machine.
It looks like the interior has been stripped of anything useful over an extended period of time. This could be the work of Seela's forces. They've been... Wait! Picking up enemy contacts. Romulan ships decloaking.
Well, time to kill some Romulans, just like the good old days.
Romulans are going under cloak. They're disengaging.
I mean, they're in my tractor. I don't know where they think they're going.
Those ships were older, but battle-ready and in good repair. It's unusual of them to run so quickly. We should stay sharp. There's probably more of them out there waiting under cloak. In the meantime, we damage their propulsion systems in the fight. They're leaking plasma.
Follow the plasma trail.
As long as they keep leaking plasma, we can follow their trail.
By the way, speaking of which, we were talking about how people have screen time.
They're not trying to lose us. I've got a bad feeling about this.
This is not Star Wars. Anyways, we were talking about... Yes, I did, Walker. We were talking about screen time and character relevance and all that when it came to Denise Crosby and how she's more important to STO than she is to Star Trek. No, really, she also has more screen time in STO than she does in Star Trek. But here's the funny thing. Or in TNG, excuse me. Here's the really funny thing. I looked it up. Would anyone like to guess which Star Trek alumni has the most screen time in STO?
Unidentified ship, you are trespassing in sovereign Romulan space, and you are outnumbered. Surrender now.
Nice to see you, too.
Oh, it's you again.
Not here to fight.
No. You are still trespassing in my space, and I could use a new ship for my armada.
You're an idiot if you think you can fight me. But if you want to lose ships for your armada, you got it. Let me blow up all the ships in your fleet here. Just all of them. Okay, we good?
Fine, we'll talk. Cut to the chase and tell me what it is you want.
Information. I'm looking for the location of certain Tal Shiar prisoners.
Ah, I'd wondered when you'd get around to looking for the Enterprise C survivors.
A logical deduction. Where are they?
When the Enterprise C survivors were taken, my father agreed to let the rest of the crew live, so long as Lieutenant Yar served as his concubine. She was executed, but my father held to his word. I am aware of their location, but I will only take you there if you agree to bring me with you.
If you want to come with, you're getting arrested. No tricks.
And what assurances do I have that I won't simply be executed? I will not agree to my death.
You're an idiot if you think I'm going to kill you. If I wanted to kill you, I would have done it 13 times by now.
If I agree to this, I will be held in house arrest, somewhere reasonably pleasant by my own standards. I will not be cut off from access to the outside world, and I will not be given any sort of death penalty. Further, you will allow my crew and their ships to go without harassment.
I mean, have you ever seen a Federation penal colony woman? This is like someone coming to me and saying, I refuse, under any circumstances, to do what you say unless you give me a bag of chips, a Coke, medium, I'm thinking, and one rock from outside the patio. Those are my demands, and you will follow them. It's like, yeah, sure. You got it.
The survivors of the Enterprise C were sent to a Tal Shiar prison world. Set a course for the Pictet system. I shall make my way to the bridge of this quaint little ship.
Ma'am, this is Wendy's. The answer is Daniels. Daniels has the most screen time in STO of the Trek alumni, which amuses the crap out of me. Now, Lita is number 2, so that's also a good guess. I have a feeling, since Daniels has kind of left the game, and Lita is currently still doing work for the game, that she will actually overtake him. But as of this moment in time, Daniels has the number 1 slot. The TOS intro really boosted it, yeah. And he's part of 2 full story arcs in every single mission, and he's in a lot of other missions, too. He shows up a lot. It's weird. But yeah, I think Lita will surpass him.
I'm reading several Tholian ships on sensors, along with some unusual temporal fluctuations. Tholians dislike anything involving time travel. We should be cautious. If they think we're responsible, they may become hostile.
Anything to add, Sela?
This is the Pictet system, one of many worlds where the Tal Shiar would send assets important enough to keep, but not threatening enough to kill. Supplies to this world stopped when Hobus was destroyed, but the Enterprise C crew are proven survivors. I admit the Tholians being here is new. Surely they won't be too difficult for you to handle.
Are you kidding? The Tholians are basically tutorial enemies in this game. It's effectively one of the first arcs the game ever had, along with the frickin' Borg. Thank you, Wenlock. Always appreciate. I'll put that towards dealer's choice. And hey, Blow Off Alex, dentist appointment. I'm going to have one next Wednesday, too. And August 9th in the afternoon, which is like the worst possible time for me. I'm probably going to do an early shift on the 9th and then cut off to go to the dentist. Okay. Leaving. Wow, you're still alive. I'm actually shocked by that. You could stop living.
The
Jesus
Tholians were
Christ.
performing a detailed scan on that anomaly. Something caused it to destabilize quickly. Not a good sign.
Yeah, afternoon is pretty much the worst possible time for me because I either have to I can't just skip a shift or start a shift late or whatever. I have to like slot it in the middle of both shifts. But it's whatever. That's the only time they can get me, and that's the important appointment. That's the frickin' infected tooth.
Will be purged, as will you. Vengeance for the fallen.
Okay, this time we're gonna hit some cooldowns. Okay, so a little bit better. You know, you'd think it wouldn't be hard to run an apartment complex and not be a crook, but I've lived too long to think that way.
Another temporal anomaly. It was emitting high levels of tachyon radiation and chronotons before it dispersed. I'll need more data, but I think it was an unstable gateway into transdimensional space.
I see. Well, we're going to have to...
Scan one. I want to see what they were so interested in.
Sela, you don't give orders on my ship.
My most sincere apologies. I am so used to command and to quick efficiency. I just thought perhaps it would be better if we continued with the mission before more Tholians show up. We can stand around and talk if you like.
Go ahead and set a course to the anomaly. Sela, chain of command.
Based on these readings, I believe I've found an origin point for these anomalies. They're coming from the planet below.
All
I
right.
suggest sending an away team down to collect data.
Let's go ahead and kill some Tholians really quick. I do hope the new place is
Clear.
better, Blow Up
We should
Alex.
check out the planet while we can.
Wherever you're heading to. No, I don't think I know anybody stupid enough to break time. Like, you couldn't catch me dead doing time travel.
I'm
Ugh.
detecting signs of habitation, but there's a lot of temporal disturbances down there. They're making it hard to obtain a clear reading at this distance.
Assemble your most able crewmen and... My apologies. This is your ship. You give the orders.
Thank you, Sela. Sela and Daniels, you're with me. Because I am my most capable crewman. Because this is a Star Trek game. Well, fingers crossed, Bill of Alex. And Lord knows I've lived in plenty of dives in my life, and that kind of everyday crap just sucks, so... Piss on that. Need to have like a wave of auditors sweeping the country trying to fix all that crap. I'm not even joking. I really do think the status of too many apartments in too many cities, in too many states, are completely unacceptable here in the United States. And I've lived in several of them. I'm not actually joking about that. God, I hope not, Dakota. That would be messed up. No, what we do for Sela is we hit her with a stun phaser. And there's just one guard, right? And whenever she wakes up from the stun...
We've beamed down into an open courtyard within what's left of the Tal Shiar prison. Doesn't look like it's been inhabited for some time. I'm reading a number of temporal anomalies nearby, but my tricorder's having trouble analyzing the data. We're going to need to get closer.
The shipments of supplies stopped long ago. Anyone alive down here will have a hard time. I suppose that's too bad for Admiral Tanay.
You said anything about Admiral Tanay?
That is what this is about, isn't it? There are two of her and no one else. If you find her, I doubt she will be alive.
Well, we are still going to search for her. Obviously, we're having temporal problems, so we kind of need to do something. I'm not sure the exact timeline, but... Hang on, so it's 34, actually 35 now. That's since there. So we tack on the 20 there. But then that happened there. So it's probably been about, this is off the top of my head, 31 to 34 years since the supplies stopped showing up here.
This world was abandoned by the Tal Shiar decades ago. I doubt there's anyone left.
I just said that,
The
Sela.
survivors of the Enterprise C might have left personal items behind.
Hello. This is, Everything's fine. Nothing's wrong here. Just gonna walk into the pink zone. You notice it automatically puts on my hazard suit for that, so that's a good sign. And I don't think that's reasonable or unreasonable, Gum Gum. And that's my answer to you. Let's see, what do we got here?
This datapad dates back to the late 23rd century. It lacks power, but it should work once it's recharged.
So power the damn thing up. Fine. Gotta do everything around here.
This place hasn't been inhabited for a while. Thing is, the tricorder's giving a range of time from 3 months to 30 years. We're dealing with some serious temporal flux here.
Yeah. Have you looked up the... Okay, whatever.
That's one of the temporal anomalies.
Really?
Wouldn't recommend entering its area of effect. From what I'm reading here, contact with the anomaly will do considerable damage to anything organic.
Oh no, Sela came
That
in.
being said, I believe we can deal with this. Stand over there, and between the two of us, we should be able to nullify the anomaly.
Ugh. I have no idea, Gum Gum. How much energy does it take to vaporize something? People have done the math. I don't know. I know nothing. Except that I am thankful to Justin T. Much obliged as always. And that's going towards... Let's see. Dabla 1, you got it. What, you don't like fighting the Borg, Lunaruth? Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Three Hopes. So. Weep, as they say. There we go. Let's just remove these temporal anomalies here, because that makes all kinds of sense.
Someone's been here recently. The tricorder's picking up numerous signs of habitation in the area. By the look of things, someone stripped this area of all useful items and moved on.
Well, let's do that too. We need to get away past those gates, and we can't just, like, beam ourselves up and then, like, forwards 5 feet.
This gate appears to have been locked from the outside. Perhaps they knew about the anomaly but didn't have the means to handle it. Ah, there's a manual override over there near our beam-down site. We can use it to open the gates. When we disrupted this anomaly, it seemed to fracture, forcing more anomalies into our timeline. I think we might be able to use that to our benefit, though. I'll stay here and act as an anchor. Find the best spot and use your tricorder to emit the dispersal pattern again. We should be able to push those bubbles away from the gate controls. If you get stuck, I'll be able to get you out of trouble.
Okay.
Gate controls are trapped within an anomaly.
You don't have to explain this to me again.
We'll have to disperse it to use them.
Okay. I mean, I just walk in. Like, what? What up? No? Okay, fine. I mean, yeah, the story is just stomping so far. 26 negatives may sound like a lot, but percentage-wise... I do like the discoloration. Check that. This is actually pretty cool. I don't know if I pointed this out properly. Looks relatively pristine, new, you know? But then you see the line, and it's kind of overrun. There's some moss growing on the concrete, you know? Stuff like that. Anyways, it's not letting me interact for some reason, so let's try that again. Nope, okay. You're gonna have to let me interact with the game. Game, you're gonna have to let me interact with game. Let's try this. Nope. Okay. Hey, there we go.
Looks like some of the closed gateways are rusted now. Find another spot.
I love this, by the way. I have to make fun of this. We have a ship in orbit.
I can see a clear path to the controls.
And nothing's preventing us from doing anything here, really. But rather than doing anything else, we decide to move temporal anomalies to artificially age, like, the iron, so the iron will rust as we're staring at it, rather than anything else. Like any other option.
The gate's open. Try to disperse where you are. It should open an escape path for you.
I love it. Daniels? Daniels, no!
Excellent. The gate's open, and we can continue our search for Tanae. Well done. Before we move on, I've managed to bring the datapad online again. It might contain clues on what happened. Looks like it's a personal unit. The primary user is Lieutenant Tasha Yar of Starfleet.
I'm sorry, what?
Give me that. The first entry dates to 2389, nearly 40 years after she was executed. Or at least 40 years after she was supposed to have been executed.
Let's see it.
I am Natasha Yar, Security Chief for the Federation Starship Enterprise D. Well, at least that's who I was. For the past 40 years, I've been Tal Shiar Prisoner 24601. But even that changed a week ago. Our regular supply drops from the Star Empire stopped 3 months ago. The guards started caring too much about what might be going on elsewhere in the Quadrant and caring too little about their prisoners. We were able to overpower them.
Real quick, I love how the grass is just dancing here.
We've managed to recover some data pads like this one, but there isn't enough here for us to call for help or escape. I'm leaving this record in case anyone comes looking for us. Sela, if you find this, I still love you. I've missed you.
Lieutenant Yar was supposed to have been executed. My father said it happened. There were witnesses. How can... Clearly, there was some judicious alteration of history.
I'm muted. So it would seem.
The Enterprise C survivors were here, but something drove them away. Something more than the loss of supplies. We should continue looking for the survivors. Your duplicate of Tanae may yet be alive on this rock. It would not have been the first time.
Whoops.
No doubt he thought she might still have been useful in some way. I can see the pity in your eyes. Keep it. His decision allowed me to become the person I am. I do not regret that.
That's true. You managed to wipe out Romulus. Sort of unintentionally, but you know. Also, how can you see my eyes? I just think it might be hard to hear that Tasha has been alive this whole time.
Look, there's a path ahead.
Well, let's go. Let's kill some things. It's not a Star Trek mission if we don't kill stuff.
This anomaly looks more stable than the others. It's probably less deadly, but let's not find out now.
Cute.
The generators died and no one knows why. Richard thinks it might have been the big predators. Tanae thinks she might be able to salvage some of the parts. I hope she can. She's been glaring over the remains for the last 3 hours. 2 more dead. We can't stay here. The animals know the fence won't harm them anymore. I rigged an early warning system using a trick I learned growing up on Turkana 4, but that won't stop them. We took a vote, and we're moving. We'll build a new settlement in the old secondary supply bunker the Tal Shiar abandoned 20 years ago. The surviving guard has agreed to guide us there. Loyalty to the Tal Shiar fades when you've been stranded with the inmates.
Yeah, no, that tracks.
Lieutenant Yar never discussed Turkana 4. When I was older, I discovered why. She was a survivor. It is clear that her arrangement with my father was just that. Obviously, she continued that trait into her existence here. There's more ground to cover.
Indeed, let's keep following
There's
this
another
path.
unstable anomaly.
Daniels, we're trying to have a moment here, buddy. What's a moment? Never mind.
The anomaly has left some of the rock in a molten state.
Well, we
You
can fix
took
that.
readings in orbit. Surely we should continue looking. Clearly, these anomalies must be connected to your mission. Now, while you take a leisurely stroll through the jungle, I will be moving on. It appears that there are more survivors than initially believed.
Sela. Me, Triaxia.
There's a lot of interference, but I think I'm picking up a life sign.
Yeah, me too. It's called using my
Tanae.
eyeballs.
Go away! Leave this place!
Oh, wow, that old actress. As in, she's not an old woman. I mean, the actress that used to do that voice. I think that is today's actress. It's just she's not at the level of quality of the modern STO acting. Holy crap. It's okay. I'll stun her
No!
with pure
Not
anti-protons.
again. Stay away! Stay away!
Can we stun her? No? Okay. Cool.
It seems your duplicate, Tanae, is still alive, and she isn't pleased to see you. I don't really blame her. I wasn't exactly thrilled to see you again, either.
Sela.
She's run off. But there's an even larger anomaly close by.
It looks like it was a structure at one point.
Another temporal
but I doubt
anomaly,
any
and this one is
survivors
larger
would
than the
remain in
last.
a ruin like
There are
this.
temporal eddies moving through the area and a few stable locations between them. Now, if you establish temporal stabilizers in these 3 locations, we can disperse the anomaly and get a better look at the area. Hopefully, the Enterprise C survivors were able to escape the area before this happened.
I mean, I wouldn't bet on it, but, you know, it's not going to that. Oh, we have horrifically evil plans for her flag end. I mean, I know we gave her our word and all, but honestly, nah, I'm good.
There's a stable pocket ahead of you. Set up the first stabilizer there.
Done.
That's the first stabilizer. 2 more to go.
Yeah, sorry, you're supposed to actually follow these bubbles through here. Like this. I apologize for bomb jumping my way through this instead. But, you know, anyways.
Incredible! Dispersing the anomaly restored more than I expected. We should look for clues.
Wow, they've got chocolate bars and everything. Holy crap.
We found an entire grove of saplings. Richard swears the same area was full of towering trees last week. He might be mistaken. We're both getting older. I thought I saw a Romulan in the brush. He was wearing a 22nd century style uniform. When I looked again, he was gone. Maybe I'm going senile. Richard insists I'm too young. Maybe it's because the outside world has been on my mind. Sela has been on my mind. I wonder what happened to her. While her father was a Tal Shiar general, he spared my life in the end. Perhaps he wasn't petty and cruel to her. I hope he wasn't. If you should find this, happy 50th birthday, Sela. I have missed you. I only regret we were separated.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I'm going to kill the in-game music. This is extraordinarily inappropriate choice for this. I think it's just generic mission music. I use a Blue Yeti Elite whatever walker. It's right there. It's actually inside a foam casing, which cuts down on some of the white noise and some of the echoes. Now, you still hear echoes, because what you're hearing is my voice bouncing off of the wall back here. That's something I could fix, but I live in an apartment, so it would actually be more accurate to say I can't fix it, at least until I get my own place.
Shelter ruined, last tricorder gone, half our stores destroyed, 5 dead. The hunters and gatherers returned to find many dead and unconscious. I used my emergency medic training, but I was a security officer, not a doctor. Devek might not make it. None of them can remember what happened. Without the tricorder, we can't scan the area, or for internal injuries. I suspect that there is something on the planet causing anomalies of some kind. Danae has not reacted well. She's been talking to herself and keeping apart from everyone. A problem for later. Survival now.
By the way, I've made fun of Denise Crosby's acting in this very game, but she kind of nails this mission. Also, I could hang a carpet here, and that is something I could do, but what I really want to do is treat the walls, which essentially what I'd end up doing is set up something so the posters themselves act as a sound trap. I'd have bass traps there, and I'd have some stuff there and there to kind of... It would basically become part of the set. That's where we go like, whoosh, you know. Anyways.
Some sort of temporal inversion happened here. Some of the rock returned to an earlier molten state, while some of the building materials aged over 200 years. Anyone standing close to these objects would have been affected as well, regressed to infancy, or aged to the grave.
One way to go. You ever think about what that would be like from your perspective? Like the perspective of the person being artificially aged that quickly? Because if you think about it, they just get to go at the slow route. But they can't move or breathe or think or do anything. They're just stuck there. Depending on the type of inversion, I suppose. Like, there's a scene in the Time Machine movie where a guy's being held, and, like, his hand is inside the time bubble and the rest of him is out. So, if you, and he ages to death while he's... And so, like, the arm snaps off. But you ever think about it from the perspective of the guy outside the bubble? Because he's just like... "Ha!" And he's just stuck. Because his arm is now contained in this place, which is temporarily out of sync with him. So he just gets to sit there and probably dehydrate to death as he's waiting for that to catch up.
Well, I suppose it was nice that Yar thought of me, but that doesn't change the fact that she was going to steal me away like a thief in the night. If she had truly cared, she would have stayed where she was. My father was not cruel or petty, at least not to me. He was hard because he needed to be. I thrived because of it.
Sure.
The Enterprise C survivors were surprisingly resilient. Tasha's notes are more sparse but seem to record a productive, if primitive, community. They mention a secondary site close by. If your Vulcan survived, there may be others, and they may be close.
Let's go look.
Over here! There's a path with recent footprints.
Well, I do like footprints. Also, we literally saw her walk that way earlier, so that's not that impressive. Daniels, do you know how to do anything that doesn't involve time? I'm just kind of wondering. Like, seriously, dude.
I'm reading another anomaly, further down the path. Tanae might be there.
Hey, let's kill some spiders.
The Tanae anomaly and its allies must be purged.
Okay.
That Tholian away team must have beamed down to investigate the anomalies.
I mean, honestly, does killing Tholians ever get old? What's actually funny is there's two types of enemies on this planet. Tholians and spiders. Whoops. Yeah, apparently, Kay. His survival skill is -10.
This looks to be a well-worn path.
Oh, seriously? Okay.
Some recent footprints here, heading the other way. They might have run into Tholians.
Hey, Giga Pudding. Hey, Evo.
It seems your Vulcan passed this way recently. Perhaps the cavern mentioned in Tasha's logs is nearby. We should follow the tracks.
Okay.
It seems many of the refugees would be alive if it weren't for the anomalies. I wonder how many are left now.
That's a good question.
I'm detecting signs of recent habitation in this location.
Maybe we'll find more answers.
This was some sort of dwelling up until a few months ago. If I'm reading this right, there was an explosion of tetrion particles here. A fatal one, judging by the organic residue on the walls. No one's been living here since, according to these tricorder readings.
Understood. Let's keep looking. Also, congratulations, you can read a tricorder.
The anomalies are temporal in origin. I watched Richard wither and die before my eyes. An anomaly appeared, and moments later, he aged 100 years. We buried him this morning in the clearing. I never expected he and I would end this way. I miss him. Richard was a wonderful partner for these last decades, a good man. We built a wonderful life, despite it all. My only regret is that Sela never got to know how kind and brave Richard was. He'd have been such a wonderful stepfather. Tanae hasn't been seen in days. I'm worried she won't come back. I'm worried she will. I thought her strange behavior might be a degenerative Vulcan sickness, but she was answering questions before they were asked, and she's been close to every anomaly that's happened. Maybe I'm jumping at shadows. The part of me that is still a security officer on the Enterprise doesn't think I am, though.
First of all, thank you for being part of the show, Mike Kamano. You didn't put that towards anything, though. So if you want to put it towards something, let me know. Second of all, thank you, Loke. Depends on the game, Mike Kamano. It always depends. Much appreciate, Loke. I will put that towards the Dragon Age block. And this is not in-game music. It's actually Celeste, specifically. And... come on. There you go. Thank you, Walker. See, now that you've donated, I feel safe saying I just spent $1,000, so... I do appreciate this support. Because... yeah. I'll put that towards a short hike. Now, 1 second. Let me see if it's already on the veto list, Mike Kamano. In fact, actually, the easiest way to pull up veto is this. Is Hexen on this list? No. Okay, so what's your backup choice, Mike Kamano? Because I'm just going to tell you right now, there's a pretty good chance that's going to be vetoed. But I'll look into it. I'll get a copy of it. See what we got. See if I can figure it out. Might already be on the list, actually. Check that while we're here. It's okay. The next appointment will also be $1,000. The fillings. Okay, Hexen is not on the list. I didn't think so. Take your time.
This is Tanae. I have agreed to report the final words of Natasha Yar and to hold this log for the future. If there is one. If it isn't here already, What? No! Focus. Focus! Natasha Yar died of a fever. She wished for the story of the crew of the Enterprise C to be remembered. They were brave beyond expectation. She wished for her daughter to know that she was loved and that Natasha lived a long and happy life. But Natasha missed her, and she hoped her daughter's life was wonderful.
Nope.
Natasha requests that if this log is found, that this record be conveyed to Sela of Romulus and to the Federation. Do not come near me.
But Sela's only like 40 at this point. I mean, she's half Romulan, so she might have enough time to still have a life after this. And yeah, I know it sounds weird, but the $2,000 for all the work and fillings is actually relatively low, which is one of the reasons I decided to go ahead and do it. Because it's not one, like I said, they had to, one of the things they did today was removed some of the old fillings and cleaned up the areas around there. And next week they'll be replacing those fillings, and it's like 5. So.
I think I see movement in the bushes. Tanae?
Stop following me!
No.
No. Go away! I told you to stay away!
We're going to fix things.
I am dangerous. You should not be here. No one can be here. No, not again.
Not again? What do you mean?
No, not again.
There's a new anomaly forming.
Yeah, we get it. She's the cause of the anomalies because she is actually a temporal anomaly. That's what we're here to fix. I don't know why we're acting like that's a thing. Ooh, that's it.
Purge the anomaly. Purge the contaminated.
But no, Savicom. I still have the infected tooth. It still needs to come out. It might happen on the 9th. There's a chance it won't. Reputation.
Tanae, the anomalies that have been occurring were caused by decades of temporal interference. Because of what happened with the Enterprise C, you exist in 2 places at once. We can fix this. You and your counterpart can be reintegrated. Your memories will be integrated as well, but the anomalies will stop.
Quick aside, the fact that they have a process for reintegration is quietly horrifying in its own way. Like, really think about what that means for a second.
I see the logic in your presence here. I am anomalous. My presence here must be sufficiently reconciled to preserve the order of things. I presume you are here to accomplish this. Thus, I will go with you.
Good. What? Well, let's go confirm. What do you got for me? I don't know if you can read that on stream.
All this time, she was here. I believed she was dead. Tasha believed I might come looking for her. She believed it so strongly she left logs in case. Tanae held her logs for her. And now, she is truly dead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is a very touching moment, but you see what Daniels is doing here? This is I just wanted to show it off a little bit, because this is that jumping, pathfinding thing I've talked about several times, and this is probably the best showcasing of it we've ever got, so I just want you to enjoy that for a moment. That's not move, so he stops doing that. Ahem. I am sorry, Sela.
This place has led to some interesting revelations, shall we say? I think it best we leave before more Tholians show up.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how that would feel. Hey, your mother had been alive this whole time and was waiting for you to come and save her. But by the time you finally actually started tracking her down, coincidentally, by the way, we didn't come here for Tasha. We came here for Tanae. We find out that she died years ago. GG. Yeah, I can imagine what she's going through. I'd rather not, though, if that's okay. I actually hope Sela has a good life after this. I know that sounds weird, given how she's Sela. But I'm enough of an idealistic idiot to hope that people like her can actually turn around.
Looks like we beamed up just in time. Several Tholian ships are on an attack vector.
Be better, you know? I don't know how to bet. The redemption arc, you know? Not everyone can have a redemption. Not everyone should have a redemption. But I think Sela would be on that list, and that's just me. Now these Tholians, nah, I'm just gonna kill them. They're just trying to fix time. Wait.
Something is happening. It's happening again. Another anomaly is forming.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Daniels, can we fast track this? Do we have the fast pass? We don't have to wait in line. I actually agree. I think Seela's a good example of how much not upbringing, what do you call that? Nurture matters. I mean, obviously nurture matters, duh. But, like, I do think Seela could have been a much more positive person on the galaxy if she hadn't grown up where and how she did.
I see you found my displaced temporal counterpart. Well done.
Thank you, Admiral.
An operations team is standing by on this vessel to assist with her temporal reintegration. Please beam her aboard, and we will begin the process. It is possible that I may acquire a new set of memories as part of the process. A small price to pay to stabilize the timeline. As it has been said, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Or the one.
I also have Seela.
I see. Having read the briefing from Starfleet Command, I find her presence here to be most logical, considering the situation.
She's agreed to go into custody now that the issue has been resolved.
Very well. I will take custody of Seela and deliver her to a secure facility once the reintegration procedure is complete. Beam her aboard with my temporal counterpart.
As you wish. Dreadnought out.
It seems our journey is at a parting of the ways once more.
So it seems. You did agree to this, however.
I did, and I will. But I have a condition to my surrender.
Bring it up with the Admiral. But we know what her condition is, don't we? So she's in the Supermax.
Tell me about my mother.
He'd know. And I don't mean that as some kind of dig or crude joke. He has perfect memory. He could literally recite for her every interaction with that he ever was present for. That's as close to a frickin' movie of your mother you're ever gonna
The
get.
timeline is stabilizing. Anomaly counts are dropping, and our agents are reporting a decline in temporal aftershocks due to recent events. That's a good thing, by the way. The aftershocks of our recent discoveries on Pictet may take some time for Seela to resolve, however. I hope she's able to find a sense of peace and closure from what she's learned today. I'll be heading back to Temporal Command once we've fully integrated the two Tanays. Be seeing you.
Yeah, ironically, I was thinking the same thing, Kay. Data could tell her about her from the past. Present, whatever. Danae could tell her about it from the previous. So yes, Data is alive in this timeline as a consequence of some stuff around the Kelvin timeline, which at the time was considered canon. It was actually something that was alpha canon. I think it's been like partially ejected, it's not been contradicted by Picard, which, spoilers, has Data in it. But it is, it's no longer like hard canon like it used to be. Yeah, Data is alive as a consequence of Screw Nemesis. That's not a bad way to put that. By the way, it's not actually a spoiler that Data's in Picard. It was literally in the trailer, and it's like a first episode kind of a thing. And yeah, I wasn't going to say anything about that either, Jalu, for obvious reasons. I mean, if Nemesis didn't happen... Just double checking something. Alright, I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. And boom! Wait, I should check first in the interest of fairness. Data, well, Picard. Go watch Picard. Or don't, if you don't want to. I think Picard kind of sucks, personally, but that's just me. Damn it, you did write in the thing not to bound. Fine. I'll do the bend over backwards thing, but give me a minute. But yeah, it's a great quest. Just, yeah. Love that stuff. Hit the wrong button. Nope, not that one. There we go. I could lean. That's a good idea, Makamano. Thank you, Evo. Very, very much. I gave it 2, Justin. I've seen better quests, but that was a damn good quest and absolutely deserves 2 positives. For real. Thank you, Evo. I will put that towards the Dragon Age block. Give me a minute. You're really putting a damper in my intention to eventually hire you as an artist and a writer. Oh, my back. Okay. Sorry, my back is a little stiff because you ever go to the dentist and then sit there, I have to do this for a really long period of time while in pain, while like there's like 15 little things, and they're all little things. Like there's a bit of water that goes there, and so your throat's like, oh, I should close up. There's some water going down me to make sure that water, but it needs to not do that, and you're holding on to the air thing to make sure that the water is being removed, so you don't need that, and you got to concentrate on breathing because it's too easy to either not breathe or not be capable of breathing. Don't do it, Blue Up Alex. Don't. You know what I'm gonna do? If we ever get there, because I need to get caught up first, I'm going to just sit down and be like, all right, let's get the games that I remember disliking out of the way. And Xenogears and Chrono Cross are going to be 2 big ones on that list. Not the only ones. The 2 big ones. Let's get out of the way and see what happens. And I'm going to laugh if they review well. All right, so if you've been paying attention, it sure felt like torture. I was thinking about that while I was there. I was like, this would be a really effective way of torturing people. And then I remembered that that actually is something people have done to torture other people. And then I was sad. And then I started distracting myself by thinking about Mr. Red's little vampire problem. So, yesterday's war, this is a filler arc. Now, I've actually already given a negative for this, I think. Let me actually double check that. Because this is what I would call a bad filler arc. There's nothing wrong with filler. As we've talked about before, there's such a thing as good filler, and good filler can be awesome. But this sucks. It's just, it starts out of nowhere. Nothing sets it up. It's just like, hi, you're a temporal agent. Go to the past and stop the Romulans and the Nakul. Keep in mind, the Nakul haven't been introduced yet. Now, I know you could say, you know, hey, check it out. But no. What I mean is, as a video game, as a story, they just kind of are like, and then there's the Nakul. And if you don't remember Enterprise, it's like, huh? Yeah, exactly. This is quite literally just a bundle of missions that just kind of got lumped here. Now, there is some establishment. There is some build-up for what will be happening here in Future Proof. But I just wanted to mention that because this is this is the same problem we had way back here. Here's unrelated missions that kind of set some stuff up, but mostly don't. What I'm trying to say is that you could skip most of yesterday's war on like if you're going through this and not really miss anything. I would recommend go ahead and do Temporal Ambassador because that's amusing. And definitely do Survivor. And honestly, you could skip the rest of it. So, now let's get on to the actual temporal arc. And then we'll talk about the actual filler arc that does a much better job of it. But that'll probably be tomorrow. My goal is to hopefully finish the temporal arc today. Since we lost 2 hours, who knows. Thank you, Ferndo. I do always appreciate that support. Thank you very much for that sub. And if you want to put that towards something, please let me know. Oh, and to finish responding to you, Evo, you gotta pay bills, right? Besides, I got a lot of stuff I want you to draw. I want character sketches, damn it. Alright, so. Sunrise.
With the war over, it's time for us to rebuild, to take stock of our situation, and to return to our roots as explorers. We've recently noticed that a star in an unexplored system near Ferenginar has become unstable. There's nothing to indicate any change to its stellar life cycle, so this is a perfect opportunity for us to chart the system, investigate the star, and improve our understanding of what's happening. I want you to head up this investigation. Find out why this star is suddenly dying, and make sure it isn't going to be a threat to any nearby worlds or systems.
Yeah, sure. Notice, by the way, I hate to keep making my point. Notice how this quest directly follows from the end of the Iconian War, and acts as though the yesteryear didn't even happen. We're apparently getting a interstellar specialist in Deep Space Nine by the name of Tenora Zuval. Well, let's head to DS9 then. I can just warp there. Oh. Oh my god, blow up Alex. Yeah, no, I work a lot, but I'm a little more careful about it nowadays than I used to be. I don't know what you're talking about, Kira White Noise. And yeah, I think I know the torpedo you're talking about. I guess we can just check here. The quantum phase one? Yeah, that's the one. Part of the quantum phase set. Oh no, you're talking about this thing. Yeah, you're talking about that monster. Yeah. Lots and lots of crit, in addition to just being a torpedo. Can we... There we go.
Thank you for the pickup. I'm Tenora Zuval. Let's get started. My preliminary observations show some kind of unknown stellar problem. This unexplored system near Ferenginar is undergoing solar death. Basically, it's as if the star is going out suddenly, but there's no good reason why. We need to get close enough to take some readings and see what we can figure out.
Alright, Helm, take us away from Deep Space Nine. There's actually a lot of nice Cardassians in STO. It's weird. It's almost like the Cardassian Union, the Cardassian people were functionally very different people. Because they're based on Nazis and Germans, respectively. I have no memory of being in a state of giving feedback, admittedly, Evo, so I'm going to go with no, I didn't know that. DS9 was a brilliant design, I agree. It's got some issues practicality-wise, if we're thinking about it honestly. But it's a nice-looking station, almost in a ship. It's a nice-looking station. It's huge. It's one of the bigger stations in the setting, honestly. Okay, that's fun-looking. Detecting only gas giants in system. No sign of rocky planets. It's getting closer. Initiating scan.
Getting swamped with solar radiation. Try reducing the gain on your sensors.
Okay, we can do that.
Initial results don't make any sense. The star's core reactions are failing, but it still has so much mass that it should be conducting fusion. It's as if it suddenly decided that it was no longer going to do hydrogen fusion, just heavier fusion processes.
Let's collect some stellar particles, see if we can find more
This kind
clues.
of matter is ejected during corona events. We should be able to collect some with your ship's ram scopes if we head to one of the ejection zones.
Plot of course. Let's get closer to the terrifying star. Thankfully, we're not actually getting closer to the terrifying star. That would be all. I mean, could you imagine? By the way, red alert, launch fighters. No reason. Oh yeah, DS9 actually really had a completely amazing premise. It's weird how well thought out it was. Then again, so did Voyager, if we're being honest. Up. All good picks, Blue Alex.
Results are coming in now. This still isn't making any sense. It's as if the star's life cycle was suddenly accelerated somehow, but it never went through an expansion cycle. There's no good explanation for this yet. Maybe something else in the system caused it.
Let's see if anything else in the nearby system was affected by this as well.
If this is system-wide, we should find evidence of similar problems, with nuclear and chemical reactions in the system's gaseous bodies. There's a large amount of gaseous stellar matter further from the star. We should have no trouble checking that hypothesis.
Alright. Let's go check it out. My sister says it looks too much like an armadillo, Evo. So if there's a way you could de-emphasize the backplating, that would be nice. That's the only response I have, though.
This is very strange. Usually nebulae are massive clouds between star systems. Finding a micronebula in system like this is quite rare. This may be the result of an event such as a cosmic string, shearing through a gas giant and turning it back into particulate matter. I'll need some more readings to know for certain.
Well, figure out where we should scan and we'll get there.
All the particulate matter will make your ship's sensors unreliable beyond a few kilometers, and shields will be offline. The best we'll be able to do is to check small areas until we get close to something unusual. We should head to where the deionized particle density is highest.
Okay. Let's see if we can figure out where that is without sensors or shields or anything, really. Hey, I'm just quoting word for word, okay, Eva? Don't look at me. Because you're functionally drawing her character, Kazrinthka. I've actually been describing to you her specific brood this entire time. So I showed her, you know, the picture, and she's like, why am I an armadillo? Let's see here. Ice fragments, inner particles. Another ship's been here. That's weird. Oh, whatever. What else we got? Okay. Residual trail from an impulse engine. Energy surge heading towards us. Tholians. Well, unfortunately for them, they have no shields. They're dead. We have no shields too, but we're a dreadnought. We actually have armor. If it makes you feel better, I'll do another song, Kay.
Data is coming in now. Nothing unusual coming in from the nebula, but those Tholian ships were quite far from home. Unfortunately, they can't give us answers. Looks like there's some heavy ionization on the far side of the nebula, though. As if it's receiving some kind of reflected radiation from one of the gas giants.
Set a course for the gas giant. That's terrifying looking. I get what I'm looking at, but it's still terrifying looking. Alright, helm set evasive maneuvers. Let's go check out some radioactive asteroids. You like how this is mostly an exploration mission, by the way? Barely any combat. Nothing really noteworthy there. Iron and magnesium. What else we got? Yeah, this one mission is already a better breather mission than the entire previous arc. Copper, cobalt, tungsten, and mercury. I mean, honestly, a couple of dinky Tholian ships is nothing to me at this point. Yeah, it's some old boys. Alright, so... titanium, uranium, lots of silicon. This asteroid's been evacuated along one side. It looks like someone used a primitive mechanical probe to crack part of the asteroid and remove some of it. There's low-grade warp signature. Nothing sophisticated. That's strange. Let's see what else we can find here. Yeah, let's get back. That's no moon. No, it is. Never mind. We're cool. We're cool. Comm traffic? What? Why didn't we pick this up outside the system? There are thousands of background signals in space, sir. You're fired. Alright. Any signs of starships or star bases? A few minor orbital facilities, significant industrial infrastructure, 8 billion inhabitants. With a B, picking up low-power warp trails. Nothing the size of a starship, maybe probes.
Greetings, unknown vessel. This is Administrator Kumarke. Please provide identification.
Hi, Kumarke. You're one of my favorite characters in this game. This is Admiral Merlinet of the ISS Dreadnought. I represent the United Federation of Planets.
Welcome to Lukari. Visitors here are rare, but we're always gratified by the chance to meet and exchange information with travelers. I regret that you have arrived at a difficult time. You may have noticed that our home star has become unstable. I'm leading a project to try to reignite the star. Unfortunately, we've already suffered severe disruptions, and we have a lot of problems to tackle right now.
Right. We actually have noticed that you've had problems with your star. We came specifically to investigate this.
These problems started only recently, just a few days ago. Our astronomers noted a significant shift in the star's output, and now it looks like it's guttering and dying. If we can't solve this problem, it's the end of our species. I'm the project leader for our solar probe team. We're going to try to restart fusion with a quantum chromodynamic accretion burst, but honestly, this is a colossal problem, and it may be beyond us.
My ship is part of a larger fleet. We have very advanced technology. We may be able to assist you, is what I would say, but I'm supposed to quote the Prime Directive at you. Hang on, let me... Fine, I got it somewhere. Give me a second. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. It's in the bathroom. I was using it for toilet paper. We regret to announce to you that we are going to let you die horrific bloody deaths and watch 8 billion civilians be killed by something that's easily avoidable because we're evil. Any questions? I like how it's not even brought up here. I mean, it'll come up later. But, like, it's like, oh, yeah, hey, we'll help you. Because, of course, we will.
We have a solar probe ready that contains the booster module that needs to be fired into the star. It's capable of warp 2. There's a problem, though. The probe's remote navigation systems don't work. All of the interference from the solar flaring and guttering is blocking the signal. Could your ship get a trajectory plot so that we could set a pre-programmed course?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, funnily enough, as much as I'm joking here, the Prime Directive has a really dumb loophole, and I do think it's dumb. It's an arbitrary defining line. The moment a species, any species, has warp drive, any warp drive, they're free game. The Prime Directive stops applying immediately. And if that doesn't sound as dumb as it is, let me put it to you this way. Let's assume for a moment that real life Earth, right now, had one particular unit of one team of people who are putting together a warp drive in secret that none of us know about, and they successfully do a warp jump. The moment that team, which the rest of our species isn't even aware of, successfully accomplishes that jump, we're okay. Like, we're fair game now. And all of a sudden, the Federation would have full carte blanche to interact with us however much they wanted to, with no legal repercussions. Let's see here.
We're getting your telemetry now. I'll have my engineers prepare the probe. Let's see if this works. Nothing to worry about, just the future of my planet.
We'll hold position for you to launch the probe.
The probe's made it out of orbit. Engaging secondary boosters to head out of planetary range.
Yeah, that thing's fast. I don't think we could go that fast. In real life? Well, there's how I get around, Kay. I just kind of teleport, though. It's a little different.
It's gone to warp. The probe is arriving at the solar corona. Deploying chromodynamic booster. No effect. It didn't work. Well, repeat. It didn't work. One shot. Thank you for trying to help. I'm not sure what to try next. Maybe we can evacuate a few people. I'm not going to give up. But the situation is grim. If your people can offer any other help, we would welcome it. But I just don't see a way to relocate 8 billion people in the next few hours.
I mean, we probably could, but we'd be doing it yesterday. Huh? Don't worry about it. Yeah. Unfortunately for you, not only are we not idiots, but you do have warp drive, so we're cool. Uh-oh. Hail the new arrival.
My name is Caldano. Looks like I've arrived at the perfect time. I'm here to help with the problem with this star. I'm a scientist, and I have some specialized knowledge that can help.
It's nice to meet you, Cal. I love how the dialogue acknowledges that we've actually already met Caldano. Twice.
With apologies for the interruption, this is my home star. My people are the ones at risk here. If you have some way to reverse this process, my people should be involved.
Sure envelope, Alex. Have a good move. Since no other solutions have presented themselves, we should probably hear them out.
All right, I'm willing to do so, but it will take me a little while to get a shuttle out there. As you might imagine, things are a little hectic over here.
We have a method slightly faster than a shuttle.
You won't be able to get a lock on my ship interior due to the subspace manifolds. I'll go ahead and bring you aboard.
At your leisure. And yeah, it's really obvious. They literally describe what the Toxu Thought does without saying Toxu Thought. They just describe what's happening to the star, and it's like, yeah, no, we know that's what the damn thing does. We just had a quest about it, too, in case we'd forgotten about that episode. Listen, Jalita, you can't know the consequences. So, somebody asks, is there such a thing as a prime directive being applied appropriately? First of all, the obvious answer is yes. But even if we ignore the prime directive as it should be, let's actually look at the prime directive as it is and acknowledge that there's a very, very simple way to make the prime directive work. And I've talked about this before. The problem is the prime directive is the last step in the process. All things are actually a gradient of start, process, finish, right? Most people don't think about this kind of thing because they think you hit a button, you attack the enemy. But there's actually the button input, the beginning of the attack can hit, the attack can no longer hit and is concluded, right?
Welcome aboard. I'm Caldano.
Hi.
You moved me here without crossing the intervening space. You have quantum teleportation technology.
Yeah.
Yes. We call it a transporter. It has a limited range, but it's useful for going from surface to ship.
Impossible! This ship's interior is massive, even though it's no bigger than a shuttle.
My ship uses compactified subspace folds. It's bigger on the inside.
Yeah, right now we have slightly bigger issues to handle. Okay, so real quick, because I think we're gonna... Yep, okay, so we have a moment here. So what you do... The problem is what they do is they make the prime directive the last step in this gradient. We find a planet. Okay, are they warp capable? Nope. Are they all going to die because their sun's about to go nova? Yes. Well, prime directive, end discussion, and the process is over. What it should be is the prime directive should be over here at the beginning. It's like we look at the thing and it's like, oh, okay, well, we don't want to interfere, obviously. You know, we don't want to just show up and start stomping around and saying, rah, being all British about it. Or Portuguese. Spanish. French. Anyways, the point being, we don't want to do that. So we show up, we say, hold up. But then we're like, oh my god, their star's about to go nova. Let's help them. And that's how you make the prime directive not stupid without actually changing it. You just move it in the process. Now, I love this entire quest. I love the fact that we're dealing with something that isn't the end of the universe. I love the fact that we're not trying to defeat some giant death army. I love the fact that Camarque is very well voice acted and is the Deferi again. No, really. So, a little bit of behind the scenes here. They came up with their own race, the Deferi, and they wanted to do their own species, which they could do their own stories on. Obviously, they're Star Trek fans, but you get the idea to want to do an original work. The Deferi sucked. Nobody liked the Deferi, including the writers. So they kind of shelved the Deferi. You notice they haven't shown up for forever, and I don't think will ever really be relevant again, except as background characters. So they shelved the Deferi and kind of went back to the drawing board for a little bit. Now, they kind of invented the Iconians, if you're paying attention. They didn't have much to go off of, so any Iconian stuff they designed was all new. Once they had the confidence to make their own thing within the framework of an existing thing, they decided to go ahead and make a completely new thing, and that's the Lucari. And the Lucari are actually pretty awesome, as we'll discuss as we go through the next 3 story arcs. Camarque, so naturally, because this is Star Trek and because this is how this thing works, you need a face, right? You don't want to introduce just a species, you want to introduce an individual that we, the audience, can then associate with and care about. And you can tell a lot of effort was put into making Camarque just kind of the most adorably, awkwardly awesome person possible. I'm not making any of that up. She is just, like, she's fantastic. She's an enthusiast, she's light-hearted, she's polite, she's, like, awkward and shy, but also very extroverted, actually, and just... Oh yeah, the Lucari also have no hat. That's also true. There's no thing that defines the Lucari. They're just a species. So, I think they kind of nailed it, and that's why I've already jotted down a potential positive for the species and for Camarque. But anyways, the reason I wanted to bring that up is her reaction to being beamed is perfect. Yes, we have hours before death of billions, and yes, we've got other stuff, but you can't tell me that the first time you were beamed to a ship, there wouldn't just be this, hold up, what? And you're smart. You can figure out what happened, just like she did. You transported me up. We call it quantum folding, but yes. Oh my god! And I love the reaction. And one final tip. The actress, which I'm going to look up right now because I can't remember her name, nails it. I mean, yeah, honestly, this Kiplea Brown. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find this. This is what I think it is. Pretty sure this is what I think it is. Yep. So she's in a lot of stuff. You're probably wondering, who is this person? Was she someone from Star Trek? Technically, she actually did play someone in Star Trek. She played crewman second class Jane Taylor from Star Trek Enterprise episode The Forgotten, an episode we'll be covering in 2 weeks on the Ruminations. That's it. If you don't even remember who that is, don't worry about it. She's the random lieutenant who was forgotten, which led to problems. But she's actually a pretty damned good voice actress. She does some really good stuff. And yeah, as Kay points out, you can hear a lot of the range and the emotions that she portrays in a very short period of time. So, gush, gush, gush. Moving on.
This is all quite overwhelming. This Caldano person is another stranger from somewhere else? And you're here to help with our dying star?
Yes, we came to investigate, but now we're involved.
Oh. Yes, I suppose I can see how a star suddenly dying might attract someone's attention.
And normally my people are explorers. We totally haven't been at war for decades. And we would be open to diplomatic relations to engage in first contact, but this isn't a normal situation.
It's an odd coincidence. We'd probably never have met if it weren't for the trouble with the star. My people have never really had any desire to go exploring out there. We've sent a few probes and met a couple of neighbors, but we're happy at home, and we have what we need, so why risk it? I guess this crisis answers that question. The galaxy is bigger than us. And to survive, we need to look past just our homeworld.
By the way, there's actually a real-life theory about exactly that. It boils down to the survival of a species can't depend on just one planet. And I don't need to explain it. We're seeing the situation of why that could be a thing right now. The UFP makes exploration and peaceful contact with new species one of its primary missions.
It sounds like you have a lot of experience in meeting other kinds of people.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe if we survive this, we can take the chance and learn more about each other. To talk about what we might have in common and what we have to offer.
Ma'am, I just gotta let you know, if you ever wondered what the evacuation ship scenario looks like, this is it. We've shown up. We're the evacuation ship. But don't worry, we're gonna save your star first. Ahem. So.
What can I do to help? My home is at risk. I want to do something. To be involved in solving this problem.
Stay with me. You can see how we study and solve problems. Now, Caldano, who I've never met before, wink.
Welcome to my ship. Don't be alarmed. This vessel is from the 31st century, and it has some technology you may not recognize yet. I can assure you, though, that I'm here to help.
Don't worry. I have never done time travel to the future, past, and everything in between. Wink.
Correct. I'm associated with the temporal division of... well, let's just say that I'm an ally from the future, and I'm here to save the Lucari star.
So this involves changing the time stream. Yeah, I've had a lot of that lately.
No, I'm trying to prevent changes. Someone's tampered with this star. It's not supposed to die out here. The Lucari don't disappear today, at least not if we have any say in it. I have some technology that can help, but we'll need to rework it in order to repair the star's fusion processes. What I need you to do is help me align this matrix to match the star's original spectrum.
Yeah, we've already met him from our perspective, Blade Tufal, but he hasn't met us from his perspective. Could you explain this in a little more detail?
This matrix can adjust quantum induction fields, but restarting stellar processes isn't its normal use. This task should be simple. Go to each console and adjust the intensity of each color spectrum in the mix. When you have the right mix, the matrix on the center console should match the original color of the star.
I'll regulate the device's main power state from this console.
Cool. Let's fix the star. Yeah, trip going on this ship will happen even later than the two incidents we've already covered from the ship's perspective. So, right, while scanning, I got some data on Caldano. It's a little surprising. He's a hybrid of human and Vulcan with some DNA of Lucari. So apparently, it's some people in the future, the Lucari have a stronger tie with the rest of the galaxy. So he's not just protecting his planet, he's protecting his ancestors from annihilation. That probably means he's more reliable. Let's finish repairing the star. Yeah, what we're doing here to fix this star is actually insanity, if you know anything about interstellar physics. And I don't, but I still know this is insanity. Alright, increase.
Sounds like whoever tried to destabilize the Lucari stars decided to come knocking. Let's see who... They're packing a real wallop! Shields just went down! We have incoming!
Weapons ready. Alright, it's borders. It's the Tholians, because of course they are. They don't like temporal stuff.
Tholians, keep them away! I need to finish these computations!
No, Evo. There is literally no explanation ever given. It's like... It's underthought.
I have the device shielded in a force field, but I can't deploy it until these Tholians are out of the way.
Working on it, dude.
Shields are back up. They shouldn't be able to get any more boarding parties over.
Yeah, like many other things, everyone just sort of assumes that species can breed with other species, and it's only actually a plot point ever once.
We've got a breather. Now I just have to charge the device and prepare it for use. In just a few minutes, it'll propagate a quantum wave shift that should correct the star's stalled fusion process. You should head back to your ship, and I'll send the administrator back home.
Hold up, so that means we need to not look at it for it to actually move? I mean, that doesn't explain anything, Kay, and you know it.
The device is charging. We should be just a few minutes away from repairing the star now.
Standing by.
Give us the tox, mutant.
No! Are you absolutely out of your goddamn minds?
Just wonderful. Now the Tholians want my quantum phase inhibitor.
You will surrender the tox, mutant, or you will be destroyed.
I mean,
obviously, we can't let them have it. We just need a little more time and we can rejuvenate the star.
voice actor. Like, just Vulcans and humans have different blood. Like, completely different blood. I forget the specifics. One's like iron-based, and one's not iron, but copper-based, I think. Something like that. Like, that's all you need to go. That's right there. Boom. We're done. No crossbreeding. It is copper. I was right. Yay. And again, both of those came from the Preservers, which invalidates the Preservers' hand-wave excuse, because if things still develop differently across bagrillions of years, then there's still... Yeah, it's quite literally like humans crossbreeding with an octopus. Which probably is a story somewhere, but let's not get into that. Listen, you wanted some combat, okay? We're gonna give you some combat here. Let me pull some ships from the future to help me out here. Yeah, I'm never watching The Boys. It's actually on the forbidden list if someone wanted to donate for it.
Capacitor's full. Firing in 3 seconds.
At your leisure.
Activating the rejuvenator.
Wow, you changed the skybox. That's pretty impressive.
It's working. Look at the star. Check the spectral readings. The fusion process is reigniting, and it's returning to normal.
Shockwave should be barely noticeable to Lucari.
Some of those ships have just arrived at our home system. They're attacking our homeworld. We don't have any way to repel starships like this. Please help us.
Well, I gotta tell you about the... No, we're good. Yeah, they don't have a fleet. It's actually funny, because they only technically have warp drive.
Them. We don't have any warships or space weapons.
It's okay, we've got lots. Let me tell you about the Iconians sometime. I mean, the Tholians are at a weird de facto state of war in general. So. That's a good point. Any show Netflix cancels is probably pretty decent.
I've managed to get my ship in a web. I need your help.
Could you stop sucking for 5 seconds, Cal? 5. That's all I'm asking.
They've stolen my quantum phase inhibitor.
Well, the Tholians have the Toxutat now. By the way, how you like the new soundtrack? They're starting to get into finally some new songs from
Thanks
these
for the
quests
save,
onwards.
but the Tholians managed to steal the Tox Utot while they had my ship webbed. That must have been their plan all along. My data suggests that the Tholians used a trilithium warhead to destabilize the star. But the amount of resources needed to build such a weapon makes it inefficient, to say the least. No, I suspect that somehow they knew that I'd come here to save this star, and that I would bring the Tox Utot. Fortunately, the Lucari star is safe. However, nobody else will be as long as the Tholians have that device. They could use it to snuff out or destabilize stars anywhere they want.
We'll find it. We just need to figure out their next target.
I have some thoughts on that, but I will need to do some calculations. These events and the Tox Utot itself are tied up in the temporal Cold War. The Tholians may not care, but by using the Tox Utot, they risk distorting the timeline by wiping out civilizations that are supposed to survive into the future, such as the Lucari. I'll be in touch. At least now the Lucari will have a promising future.
Caldano is correct. You have preserved our future. My people will be forever grateful, not to mention my personal gratitude, of course.
Really?
I think we have a bright future ahead of us, if you'll forgive my play on words. I am eager to see where it leads. Thank you once again.
Would you care to join me in my quarters? I mean, in my ready room for, I don't know how to flirt. I haven't flirted in a billion years. Look! It's a professional thing. My people will be in contact soon. Too many of my people. Like, you are about to experience what we refer to as the tidal wave of bureaucracy. I'm letting you know this so that you're a little bit forewarned.
I wish I could ask you about your science, your trade, your society. But I suppose there will be time for all of that now that our crisis has been averted.
Okay, now she's asking me out, okay? I don't feel as bad anymore. Ahem.
I think our friend the administrator here is going to need a ride home. Would you mind? If you'll pick her up and take her home, I'll start looking for more data about the Tholians' plans.
We'll rendezvous shortly. Somewhere. In space. With the... Hello, game? No. Well, this is an interesting problem. I don't know where his ship is. And it's not on the sensors. See, I should have flirted with her. Oh, there it is, there it is. Hey. Alright, welcome aboard.
I have collected an amazing amount of information about what happened to this star. Thank you for bringing me along. Once we're back in Allied space, I'll take a shuttle home.
I don't mind taking a DS9. It's like a 5-second trip. Literally, because I can transwarp there. Listen, just because I'm old and terrible doesn't mean I can't flirt with them.
A first contact is a significant event for the Federation. We will be glad to open a dialogue with the Lucari people. Unfortunately, the loss of the Tox Utot is troubling. We have some reports about this device from when Jean-Luc Picard encountered it on Ryza in 2366. And obviously, we can't let the Tholians keep a piece of future technology that can destabilize stars. We'll have to deal with that later.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. What are the Tholians gonna do with it, am I right? Yeah, plus to story, good mission. Yeah, what are they going to do with it? Actually, you know what? While I type this up. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. We'll fix it, we'll fix it. Stop, stop. Okay, we fixed it. Stop, we're done. We did it. We're okay. Alright.
The Tox Utot has fallen into the hands of the Tholians. Our intelligence indicates increased Tholian activity in the Nakul system.
The who?
Caldano believes they are trying to interfere with the Nakul in the present because of actions they will take in the future. Caldano has asked you to rendezvous with him in the Nakul system.
Sure, why not? Let me just, There we go. So this also explains how I could warp around so quickly. I'm literally a Q.
Good to see you again. Thank you for responding to my message so quickly. The Tholians have the quantum phase inhibitor. I've tracked their ship to this system, and I'm detecting some telltale quantum fluctuations within the star. They're trying to use the device. We need to stop them and recover it. First, however, we need to help the Nakul. At this point in their history, they're not prepared to repel a Tholian attack.
Okay.
Unidentified vessel. You have entered our space without authorization. If you are an ally of the Tholians, leave now. We have done nothing to provoke their attacks, but we will defend ourselves.
We will render any assistance we can. What do you need?
Thank you. My people have few warships. Any assistance you could provide against the Tholians would be appreciated.
Consider it done. We will defend the Nakul, no matter the cost. Yeah, if you're paying attention and remember the previous temporal missions, you're probably already seeing the format of what's going to happen here. Or rather, what has happened. Whatever. Tenses are weird when time travel's involved. What will have happened here. There we go. That's a good way to put that. You know, this trick only worked once against, like, one ship ever. It's not a really good trick.
We appreciate your assistance. It is not often that we encounter a species willing to risk their lives for another. We are still detecting Tholian ships near our star, as well as some unusual quantum fluctuations. It's as if the star's nuclear fusion is decaying at an increased rate.
Yes, they stole a device that interferes with the fusion process of a star.
So this is your fault? Why would you make such a terrible thing? You caused this problem. I expect you to fix it, or we will hold you and your people responsible for the consequences.
I'm literally here to do exactly that. There's really no reason to yell at me.
I should have never made that device. I was only focused on the idea, on whether it was possible. I didn't stop to think of all the harm it could do in the wrong hands. We have to stop the Tholians before they shut down the star's fusion. If that happens, the effect on this system will be devastating. The Nakul will lose their home, and life will probably never develop here again.
I mean, yeah, duh. Also, I just realized we should be in a different shield for this one. There we go. Wow, that's ugly. But we're going to stick with it for a while. I like the rainbow on the edges, but... yeah, as I say, Jurassic Park quote.
The lead Tholian ship has the quantum phase inhibitor. They're going to use it on the star. We have to stop them. Board that vessel and get it back.
Or I blow up the ship and then beam the intact Toxu Thought from its wreckage. Because it'll survive that explosion.
Cursed Borgons. If they hadn't chased me, none of this would have happened.
Yeah, let's not talk about the Borgons. That's a whole other ball of stupid. It's okay. Thankfully, he didn't invent the galactic implosion device from Total Annihilation. Which is still probably one of the most actually horrifying super weapons in fiction. Like, wow.
They might have traced me to this time. We'll have to go further into the past to hide the quantum phase inhibitor.
You can also destroy it. Or, you know, use the time ship to make sure it never existed. You can do that? Yes.
Assuming, of course, we can get it back from them in the first place.
I have a feeling we'll manage. Oh my god. Damn it, Kara White Noise.
Oh no, they're using the Toxu Thought!
Oh no! So, yep, that just happened. Yeah, That's a good question, Loke. For being honest, within STO's timeline, the Tholians probably should have been defeated by now. Or at least forced to the board. Forced to the table. The problem, though, is the way the Tholians think, they would never actually have a problem with this. Let me try and explain this a little bit. Let's say the Tholians had a full peace treaty with the Federation. But then, for reasons that they have of their own, they find sufficient cause to go destroy someone's star. They'll just do it. The treaty might make them inform us that they're doing it, but even that might not even be a part of it. Because in their minds, this is just something that has to be done. You don't have to inform your neighbor when you have to go and, you know, stomp a cockroach that's it's standing around your house, right? It's just something you deal with. It's a bad analogy, but you get the idea. So, the Tholians need to be removed from the board in STO, and there's no nice way to go about that. They are the cause of many issues. And at least 3 of them off the top of my head are temporal. Which is funny because of how anti-time travel they are. But they are so anti-time travel that they almost always make things worse. Is there no way for coexistence? Honestly, I'm not sure there is, no, to be completely blunt. The only way for coexistence would be to force them to treaty, probably at a gunpoint.
Ship. The good news is that my scans indicate the quantum phase inhibitor is on the bridge. All we need to do is go get it. The bad news is that the Tholians know we're here. They're not going to give up without a fight.
So what that would probably look like, Loke, is...
Tholians come from an environment that is extremely hazardous to most humanoids.
I've dealt with Tholians before. What it would probably look like is we would have to beat the Tholians into a treaty, which they would agree with, and then they would go and break that treaty at some point, at which point we'd have to beat them into another treaty, and that would just repeat forever. They would occasionally step out of line to do something like blow up a species star. That's not even me being facetious. That's literally what they're doing right now. And, well, okay, blow up is the wrong phrase, but they're messing with someone else's star. And then they'd do it again and again and again, and each time we'd have to stomp over and shove them down so they don't do it again for a while. And there you go. There's your coexistence with the Tholians. The only other way that could take format is if we effectively treated them like an actual conquered power. Like, you know, like oppressed them. And if I have to explain why I'm not really super fond of the idea of literally oppressing them, I got nothing. That is debatable, of course, Mike Romano. Possible, but who knows. Now, let's go kill some Tholians. Time to play some whack-a-mole. I guess I should actually kill them.
Tholians, just as xenophobic and opportunistic in your time as mine.
What's really funny is the Tholians aren't what you'd call an acceptable target. They're not, you know, orcs or darkspawn. They're just... they're drow. That's not a good example. Let me try with something else. They're... to use the D&D equivalent, they are devils.
We have to be getting closer to the Tox Utat. Stay alert.
Can you talk with them? Yes. Can you interact with them? Yes. Can you make deals with them? Yes. Can they have cooperation with you? Yes. But at the end of the day, they're still the devils. There's a reason why xenophobic is one of the first phrases we use to describe the Tholians. I mean, if you want to brainwash the Tholians...
the bridge should be just ahead.
Or reprogram them into being better, well, then you're reprogramming the Tholians to be better. Yeah, it's not hard to think about why I mentioned that the Tholians probably should be dealt with. Death of Personality, Warp Core. Which... because all you have to do to think about how messed up this is picture that one day, a bunch of Tholians show up and just stop all fusion in Sol, our star. No explanation. No attempt at communication. The only time they communicated...
drop that force field, get the quantum phase inhibitor, and get off this ship before the rest of the Tholians get here to stop us.
The only time they communicated in this entire sequence of events was, give us the Tox Utat. So we can go... they didn't even say so we can go use it. It was just, give us the thing. That's it. That was their attempt at communication. Once they had it, the next thing they did immediately was beeline for the Nakul in order to use it on their star. What else do I need to add to that?
Finally, we have the quantum phase inhibitor. I brought this device through time to hide it from the Vorgons, but I never thought the Tholians would steal it. Now we need to hide it where it will be safe from both of them. Are you ready? This will be a longer trip than you're used to taking.
I'm good. Let's get back to the ship.
Set a course for the Ryza system.
Why did my ship... okay. So, you may or may not have noticed Daniels mentioned us burying the Tox Utat in the Ryza system in the past. We had... welcome to beautiful Ryza!
Ryza, early 22nd century. Even the tourists won't be in this region for a few years yet. No one will be looking for the quantum phase inhibitor here. Not now, anyway. Let's try that cave up ahead. It looks like a good spot.
Sure.
Wow, rain on Ryza. I guess they haven't installed the weather control systems yet.
One way to put it. So anyways, yeah. This is
to hide the device very well. I can't afford to let it fall into the wrong hands again, and the Vorgons are very persistent.
Don't worry. I'm sure Captain Picard will be able to deal with this. And when he doesn't, I'll go ahead and get it from the archives.
No, that's too obvious. Anyone could find it there.
Could you tell me that before I started digging it up?
That's better, but I still think it will be too easy to find. That's it. Someone will find it in a few hundred years, but that's a different story for a different captain. Let's get back to your time. We need to check on the Nakul.
All right.
Setting course for 2410.
We need to get back to the Nakul.
Wow, your voice sounds so different.
Return the talks, Lieutenant, and we will let you live.
We no longer have the device. Oh, for God's sakes. Yeah, I like how that's their only that's the only negotiation right there. Give us it or die. Give us the Star Destroyer, literally, or die. Yeah, let's check on the Nakul now that their star has been, yeah. I would actually say the Borg are literally better negotiators than the Tholians. They don't do it often, but whenever they do, they are actually fairly successful at it.
Mayday, mayday! My temporal drive has been damaged!
See you around, buddy. In my past, and your future.
This is Captain Walker of the USS Postok.
Oh, we met.
We are responding to a temporal distress call. Do you require assistance?
Hey, you're a little late. Oh, hold up. Tholians.
What happened to our son? What did you do?
Literally nothing. We tried to save your star from an hostile alien force. Didn't succeed at it, but did our best.
I'm sure that will be a great comfort to our citizens as they freeze to death.
Fear not. We are prepared to assist you in any way we can.
You have done quite enough. Leave us alone. Time travelers and malcontents and Tholians. The whole lot of you can fall into a black hole. Now go. We have to figure out how to save our people. And then we'll take steps to protect ourselves. Time is a weapon, and it will never be turned against us again.
So anyways, you're an idiot. But this is probably the only part of this story arc I don't like. Most of this actually lines up, makes a degree of sense. You know, makes sense with the show, makes sense with the previous stuff. Cool. This one moron is like, I'm gonna become Hitler Nakul.
This is Captain Benjamin Walker of the USS Postok. I'm responding to an emergency temporal transmission from these space-time coordinates, but we are no longer detecting the source of these transmissions. Did you lose a time traveler?
Yes, Caldano's ship was damaged and he fell through a temporal portal. Don't worry, we met him a while ago.
I think you better come aboard while we resolve this. Prepare for transport.
This has already been... We already fixed this. I hate this ship.
Greetings. It's nice to see you again.
We haven't met. Yes, we have.
Not that you remember. We need to scan the continuum for Caldano. Would you care to assist me?
Okay. You know what? Sure. I'm good. I can poke at things. See? I'm an excellent poker.
Were you able to locate Caldano?
Yeah, he's in the 22nd century, but the readings are kind of strange.
Enter the temporal coordinates into the transporter.
Okay. Why am I doing that instead of your crew? Yeah. When did you learn to operate temporal scanners? Don't worry about it. He looks extremely dead.
What happened with Caldano?
He's dead. He's been dead for centuries.
No, this was meant to happen. Caldano went further back into the past than you knew. The NX-01 Enterprise, captained by Jonathan Archer, found his ship in the 22nd century, and his chief engineer activated Caldano's emergency temporal circuit, which returned the ship to its last known time, this one. But by the time that happened, Caldano had been dead for centuries. The Tox Utat is safe. It was found in the mid-24th century by Captain Jean-Luc Picard, who destroyed it before it could be used to harm others.
Except he didn't, but we already know that didn't happen. What about the Nakul?
Altering the past causes ripples. The effects move through time, shifting everything they touch, and it may take eons for all of them to be seen. The Nakul will survive, although their homeworld will be lost. They will become time travelers themselves, and their actions in the temporal Cold War shape the galaxy you now know. There are some things you shouldn't change, that you can't change.
What's the temporal Cold War that I've been fighting for the last... Look, it's been a long week.
You could check Captain Archer's old logs for more information, but you will know all about it soon enough. You are entering a dangerous era in history. Time travel like warp drive before it will radically change your society. I'll see you again. We have a lot to do.
See you around, Captain. Again, I suppose. I mean, there is a fourth type of time travel, Evo. Can you guess what it is?
This is a sad day for the Federation. We failed to save the Nakul system. And our friend from the future, Caldano, is dead. I know you did everything you could. Sometimes, especially when we venture into time travel, things must play out a certain way. So, at least the timeline has been preserved. Captain Picard can now find the Tox Uthot on Risa in the 24th century. Still, let us mourn for Caldano and the Nakul people.
I mean, I'd mourn a lot more if they weren't such a pain to fight. I hate fighting Nakul. At the time. I think I might take an early lunch. I know that's kind of a short shift. But if I'm remembering correctly, and I'm pretty sure I am, the next two missions are going to be fairly involved. Anyways, the fourth type of time travel is... and we're here now. And it's actually funny because, you know, I've referred to the three types of time travel many times. You'd be surprised how many Hollywood, especially shows and movies, tend to follow the form of time travel, which is type 4. It's just no consistency, no logic to it, no nothing. Literally because plot. And it can get absolutely ridiculous in some cases. Even Back to the Future tried to adhere to its own rules, as I talked about in my ruminations. But... anyways, I'm gonna go grab some food, and hopefully I can chew properly right now. If not, I have an emergency soup. It's okay. I'll be back in about an hour for the temporal, cold, hot, past war of the future.